everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Trailhead once again. We got an amazing guest with us today. She comes all the way from Colorado. Her name is Nora, and I'm going to go ahead and butcher the name of her product again just for fun. So I always called it NEVE, but it's NEVE. And so Nora, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Okay, so right now, be transparent with everybody. We have a little bit of delay, so if there's some weird over talking with each other, it's just because we're like going back in time and forward in time all the time with with chatting with each other. So, but I love having you on. I met you at Switchback this past summer and tried out your meal, which I have right here. Let's see if it focused on that. There we go. Perfect. And it is awesome. So I, at the time, was like strict vegan too. So I was like, this is a great food for me. I've since switched to eating a lot more meat now, just for whatever reason. So, but regardless, it's an amazing product. So I wanted to have you on and just kind of have you talk to people about how you came up with the idea, how you created everything. So I guess why don't you go ahead and just, let us know a little bit about you and your background and how in the world you created a food product.
I'm still wondering the same thing. So Neve is a smoothie pouch designed for by athletes with the support of a registered dietitian. And Neve actually is a kind of snow you find on a glacier. So it really comes from my own struggles eating as an endurance athlete. So I'm a big backcountry skier, a big mountain biker. And I was in the backcountry and I noticed people actually using baby food and applesauce pouches. And I was like, that's so
Oh, okay.
interesting. Clearly, people want easy plant based fuel in the backcountry. And it's 70 calories in a pouch. So I spent actually a month skiing in Chile, and I'm a vegetarian. It's a very meat heavy culture there. So I was like, I'm gonna try the baby food, and they had really interesting flavors like guava, like so fun things. And I would keep it in my pant pocket, and so I'd be mid boot pack, and I'd be able to fuel really easily. I'd be able to seal it back up, stick it back in my pocket, and keep going. No stomach issues, just quick, fast energy. And I was like, wow, the pouch is actually truly awesome for athletes. Like, this is everything an athlete needs: resealable, portable, plant based. But the problem was the macros. And so when I looked around for this product, it didn't really exist. So that's when I decided to solve that problem and fill that white space, right? Because you have energy bars, which arguably aren't, they're not good. And then you have gels, which serve a very specific purpose, which is fast energy. But there was nothing really in the middle. And the cool thing about the pouch format is it's filled with nutrients you wouldn't get in a bar and definitely not a gel. And one pouch of Neve has more electrolytes than a 20-ounce Gatorade. So you're actually introducing a lot more like fuel and nutrients to your fueling strategy as an
Oh,
athlete. But yeah, starting a food product is really hard. So it just started with a lot of questions, researching. It actually took me 6 years to fully launch this company,
wow.
4 of which were just finding someone to manufacture the product. So it's been a journey.
I don't think you told me that it took you that long. So that's great because I've talked to a lot of people creating food products, and it's uh it's an endeavor because there's so many regulations and all kinds of things you have to do, and depending on what you make, and then you're probably trying to figure out how to keep it sustainable for a certain amount of time, and everything else. So, and I didn't know about the electrolytes either. I guess I didn't do 100% research. I just went by what we had talked about at the trade show, and then I was just eating it just to eat it because it tastes good, and I like to put healthier stuff in instead of just a bunch of random junk all the time. And then, kind of like you said, like what you said, where like protein bars are great, or snack bars are great, but they're so dry. And then the gels, if you go with like these carb gels and stuff, they're almost like I feel like I'm sucking down a chemical, you know? And so with this, with the electrolytes, I'm actually super happy too because I'm trying to find a way to put electrolytes in me for my ultra marathon I have coming up in like 2.5 weeks. And I don't want to change up my diet too much, before the race. But at the same time, I think I'm going to try it a little bit more on trail, knowing that I can use this for my electrolytes and stuff like that too. So did you, I guess, did you start with creating like one flavor and having certain things you wanted to put in it? Or what was your first, like, okay, this is what I need to be in it. And then these are the steps to do it.
So the flavor profile was really about introducing excitement and interest for athletes no matter where they are because I felt like, gosh, in like 2025, why can't athletes have real food when they're in the backcountry?
Yeah.
And so I was certain I didn't wanna do classics, like peanut butter banana, so good, right? But it's tired, it's been done, like, everyone has PB&J, everyone has chocolate banana, and I wanted to show that there's a world to fueling no matter where you are, and you could get it in a really convenient format. So,
Yeah.
I actually brought on a food lab to help me develop the flavors because I wanted to be scalable from the start. And basically what they did is I said, "I want, like, a good, better, best." So, like, crazy wild idea, middle of the road idea, and then a safe idea. And so I had 4 SKUs that I developed, and so they brought me kind of this good, better, best for each SKU, and then I was a lot of the creative input, like, "Oh, I love this," or like, "What if we did this?" And so I really brought my creativity and passion for food, but I wanted each ingredient to have a why. So like you said, the electrolytes, there's banana, there's coconut, there's salt. Every ingredient in neve serves a purpose. So the beets are nitrates, so they're blood thinners. Berries are full of antioxidants. So every ingredient has a why and that story. And I wanted if it didn't support the athlete, it's not in the product. And so that's kind of the approach I took. Let's make it interesting, let's make it support the athlete, let's make it functional, and let's make it shelf stable, right? Because you're not carrying a refrigerator with you in the backcountry, so I want it to be useful
Yeah.
and purposeful for the athlete.
So when I guess when you created it, I guess then like how do you go about because I this just popped into my head. I should have asked this with other people when I've been talking to them about foods because I guess you're creating it and there's only so much you can taste and stuff like that before you have to kind of get everybody else's input because you can create something that tastes amazing for you, right? It's like I make dinner for my kids
Mhm.
and I'm like, this is awesome. And then they're like, I don't want this on it. I don't want this on. I just made smash burgers the other day and I put onions all over it and stuff and everything. And the kids were like, I don't want onions. I don't want bell peppers. Some of them wanted cheese. And so how do you was that a headache for you? Like getting the testing and the feedback? And I'm sure it's also your baby. So you're like, you can't get offended when you're getting
Yeah.
testing or like feedback, right?
Oh, I do, but I've gotten better at it. That is something I think if I was gonna go back, I would do more sampling. I think, yeah, I didn't do enough as I should have.
Yeah.
And when I first and that's the thing with palate and food is it's so personal, right? What I love, you might hate and vice versa. Or what I think is okay, you might think is really good.
Yep.
And so palate is so personal. And so I developed 4 flavors. I launched with 2 just to this is a very niche product. So I wanted to test the market, see how people reacted. And I went with the flavors that I think would be widely liked. And also I did all the supply chain and stuff. So logistically it made sense to launch with the 2 I have.
Yeah.
But yes, when I first had people taste the product who maybe it wasn't for them, I was, like, heartbroken. And I think so I have 2 flavors. The boysenberry beets, my best seller, right? I can
Yeah.
guarantee that people are gonna like that flavor. And then the tart cherry cacao is, that's the one that I think is more cult-like. So people really love that product or they're surprised. And a lot of it's the form factor, like, what should I expect with, like, it's not like when you go in the store and you buy an energy bar, you can assume what it's gonna taste like. Probably not great.
Yeah.
It's, like, safe. Versus
Yeah.
this, you're introducing a different texture, an interesting flavor profile, and so that's something I've had to learn to just let roll off my back. It's like, "Hey, this product's not for everybody, and that's okay. That's why you have 2 flavors." And so, actually, now that I'm going into my next production run, early '26, I'm gonna make some updates to the tart cherry flavor to see if I can make it a little bit more widely liked. But, like, flavor's personal. Not everyone's gonna like my product, and as much as that hurts, I have to be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I like it because I will eat anything or I'll try anything once. So how does it work for you trying to get people to try your product? I mean, I know that not everybody's just going to, and I'm sure this must be a challenge for everybody when you sell, especially a food product. Where if you sell a piece of clothing, you can kind of see, other than the fit, you can kind of see it, right? Or if you're selling a piece of gear,
Right.
people can see a backpack and go, I like what it looks like. I kind of now it's just the fitting on your back, but with this, it's like, how do you get someone to order these and try it out, or what's your process? What have you found to kind of work and maybe not work?
Yeah, this is kind of the huge challenge that I'm trying to solve right now. So I launched this company a year ago. I sent out my first pre-order November 11th, so we're on at our 1-year anniversary after that 6 years of bringing it to
Awesome.
life. And the way I'm the way I'm currently combating this is, sampling is huge. For any food brand, like, sampling is important, and you see high conversion when you sample. Um, I'm a one-woman show here, so that obviously is a huge challenge, which is why I've kept my retail partners for now until I can really grow brand awareness in Colorado because I can more or less get to places in Colorado. So sampling's been huge. So that looks like, for example, last night I went to a climbing gym partner, and was sampling there, right? And then you just see velocity increase.
Yeah.
So you see people buying after they sample. Events have been a huge lever I pulled this summer. So I was just going to every event. This was the year of try and see what works. And that will
Yeah.
never go away. But this was like, let's just go to every event and see what works. Let's just say yes and see what sticks and doesn't stick. So a lot of events and then the goal of events is of course sampling, getting people to try, then hopefully when they're at the climbing gym and they see the product, they buy it, or they go online and they order, or they buy it instantly at my booth. So sampling has been huge. Of sampling at events has been huge. Word of mouth is really key, especially because I live in a small mountain town. People are like, what the heck are you eating? Like, can I try it?" And then people try it on the skin track or biking or wherever. I have trial packs on my website so people can buy like one single of each. It's free shipping for trial packs, so that gets people
Oh,
to
cool.
try with a pretty relative low cost. So that's what I'm currently experimenting on. But at the end of the day, I do think sampling is the key and figuring out
Yeah.
like that's I'm not scalable as a person as much as I've tried. So figuring out how I could sample more broadly, I think is key. And then I've also done partnerships as well and sent product with like partners that are very well aligned. And that's an area I have to do more experimenting in to see what sticks, what's the best way to really leverage a partnership. But those are some of the levers I
Mhm.
pulled.
That's cool. So this brings another question. I know I sent you a list of questions, but this is just cool because I'm just kind of delving into what you're talking about. So, because I am right now, I partner with a company that dry brew, and so what we're doing is during an ultra marathon that I'm doing, they're sending out product, and we're kind of like using their product, but then we're also the race said that we can go ahead and hand out samples to everybody at the start finish line because it's a backyard ultra, so everybody will be looping around, and then they have a full and a half marathon. Um, and I guess with their product too, that they're the same thing. They've been going to a lot of like I see them everywhere now. I think he's just hired a bunch of people to do trade shows and different races everywhere and stuff like that. And so I guess it would be hard to kind of scale. You can't. I wish you could multiply yourself, right? But
I know.
and then a lot of times people say I had someone quote this to me one time years and years ago because I wanted to expand my business and have more of me. And mine's a little different because it's like more of a service. Um, but they said the minute they started hiring their first employees, there was more headache, and then they were making the same amount of money later on, but then now they had like 20 employees that they also had to look after and stuff like that. So it's like, your product, obviously you need to scale it, right? Whereas me, I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to have 6 associate photographers and I'm paying them and doing these gigs if I might not be making much more. And then I'm just had this headache of maybe they call in sick or all this stuff. So that's just a random thought that I was thinking, but um, I was just throwing that out there with the race and stuff like that. I'm sure you've been doing all kinds of stuff, but the one question I had is I I never asked this question for anybody yet, but like partnering, how like everybody's partners with social media people and influencers and stuff like that. Like, have you found any success with that, or any kind of head? I'm sure there's been headaches with that too, on your end.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll add is about the scalability piece is I also have a full-time job. And so my goal is to fully do
Yeah.
this full time, but, for now, yes,
Yeah.
my time is limited, but we're working on it. Um, but
Yeah.
yes, I have done a little bit with influencers. I've seeded some, like, micro influencers, and then I would love to find that brand partner, that athlete who just loves the product. I think
Yeah.
it's about relationship building, right? So, like, I could send my product to somebody and they could try it, post on their story, and that's about it. That's happened, and I'm
Yeah.
someone who do firmly believe in building that relationship, right? Because if it's just, "Here's product, I'll post a photo," like, that's
Yeah.
not genuine. And so that's what I don't want. And so right now, what I'm doing actually that I found to be more effective is partnering with registered dietitians. So NEVE is developed with a
Okay.
registered dietitian. There's a lot of bad information about nutrition, especially for athletes out there. And fueling is so important, but it's also so personal. So for me, having that science backed piece is invaluable. I send a lot of product to registered dietitians. And I say, hey, just try it. Like no strings attached. I just genuinely want your feedback. And if they like it, great. Like they'll share it with their clients or maybe they'll post about it. But then that's more of that expert backed like check mark to put next to the product. So that's been really key. But yeah, finding the folks who love the product because I genuinely love the product. Like, I just pitched, a mountaineer who was just on Everest, and I was like, "Hey, like, can I send you my product, no strings attached?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm on Everest right now, and none of the food I brought, like, I don't want any of it, and I wish I had it." I was like, "Let me send you
Yeah.
some for when you're back," and she gets home, and, like, I get a DM, I'm like, "Oh my god, like, the tart cherry is incredible," and so I'm like, "Oh, that's great, like, try the other flavor, let me know what you think, and then I'll,
Yeah.
like, start building that relationship." It's tricky being a small brand because a lot of these influencers, rightfully so, want to be compensated,
Yeah.
and my resources for that are super limited. So I'm trying to find other ways beyond free product. I've worked in the outdoor industry. I know how annoying it can be when someone's like, "Just give free product and you'll be happy." So trying to figure out like how can I support these folks who are also doing what I'm doing, which is building their own business. So I'm doing things like affiliate as well. But that's kind of a long-winded answer to say yes, I've tried
Yeah.
some influencers and I'm trying to figure out like which niche of that strategy makes sense for me right now.
Yeah. That's cool. Because we like our, so we have this white dad, Asian mom stereotypes kind of thing that we have going on our Instagram. So that's like our social media thing. So we're right at just about to get 100,000 followers. And so we have a lot of brands
How
reach out to us that is neat, but then they don't fit. They don't sometimes fit what we do. And sometimes I'm like, man, I get the product that they'll send and I don't know how to tell them this product sucks, outside of like a nice email, like, hey, thanks for sending this. But I can't do this paid thing with you because I don't believe in the product. So I think you're right in saying, well, you got to find those people that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that get it and they maybe not your product necessarily, but like other products, they get it, they don't like it, and they don't know how to respond back. And so they just fake it. There's a lot of fake ads out there, but I feel like you can generally see when someone's genuine. And my
Yeah,
wife is always like, hey, we need to be genuine in our content or else it's going to affect your followers as well. So if you're fake on your product
totally.
and just showing stuff that's not real, it's just not gonna flow that well. So
Yes.
okay, so I'm gonna
And
go into
I
go ahead.
I've I've gotten a video where someone was like, "Yeah, like, maybe this product's not for me, but here's the video you asked for." I'm like, "I'm never gonna post this." Like, you can smell, like, fakeness, like and that genuineness is so key. The content for me that's done the best is the content that is genuine, it's me being myself, and I think that's been really and a really interesting lesson is and I just be honest, like, it hurts as the founder, it hurts. Like, if you're like, "Hey, Nora, don't love your product, like, wouldn't it make sense for you to come on the podcast?" I'd be like, "God, that feels really bad." But it's never not gonna feel bad, it's because I care, and
Yeah,
like you said, it's my baby. But, like, I'd rather not have a fake conversation than the other way around, so I don't my recommendation for anyone in that position is be honest, that's the best thing you're gonna do for, like, both
yeah,
parties involved.
yeah. And I think too, like for your brand, me personally, I buy into a lot of like in those cottage kind of brands where um, it's you. So I almost buy into you more than I do the product, and then from there
Yeah.
I buy into the product and you. And then you see like certain brands, they get sold and then you have a love for the product, but sometimes it loses its connection with its human connection with people. And then that brand, you've seen, I mean, there's lots of outdoor brands that have kind of disappeared or gone low just because they try to reach too much stuff and they've, gone crazy corporate and everything else. And, you still have to grow your business, but keeping that human connection, I think is huge. So I guess what I want to ask next would be, like when you got your first product into the world, were there any kind of oh crap moments where you're like, I'm sure you were excited, but then maybe something happened, or maybe you have like some crazy story where you're like, oh, this happened and you'll never let that happen again.
Nothing like in terms of, like, shipping product out, nothing too crazy, but I think going back to what you mentioned earlier about flavor is realizing, like, you make a product, and you're like, "Everyone's gonna love this. I'm gonna be fulfilling orders, like, I'm gonna have to wake up at 4 to fulfill all my orders." I self-fulfill, and that's just not reality is what I learned
Yeah.
very quickly. I think a lot of folks romanticize building a business, and the reality is, at least for me, right now, I'm the cog turning this wheel. I'm the one woman
Yeah.
show. So if this cog stops turning, this brand probably dies. And that hurts to say. But I think realizing getting those first going those first couple sampling events and realizing like, oh, maybe not everyone loves this product. And that feels really bad. But I've really had to quickly bounce back and be like, that's fine. Like my first note from a wholesaler, like they love one
Yeah.
flavor, but maybe not the other was kind of like, what do you mean? Then bring in one flavor. So, just I feel like building that even thicker skin was a lesson I had to learn, like, really, really, really quickly, which was hard. But, yeah.
Yeah. With that thick skin, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 29.
Okay, so 29. So you're 16 years younger than me, because I used to work for when I used to do like be a manager, and I used to have younger people under me. I think it's a testament to you sticking through how many years, because people that are your age and younger, they not always, but they want like that after, if it's not 6 months and they don't have what they thought they were going to get, they move on to the next thing. And so
Mhm.
that's just a props to you for sticking with it, even when you have, crazy stuff going on and stuff like that. Cause I did not know it took you 6 years to create it, first of all. And then, you've been going for a year. I thought you've been going for longer than that. So it's been doing well. So, um, okay.
Thank
So
you.
what, what is one part of doing your business or being in the outdoor industry that you thought was going to be easy, but actually turned out to be really hard?
Um, I think just, going off of what I said, like, you wake up and you're like, "Oh, I wanna have all these orders," or, like, you see, like, that romanticized founder on
Yeah.
Instagram who, like, shows that video of their Shopify orders when they scroll through, and, like, that's, like, a very small snapshot in time of maybe they had a great placement that drove all these
Yeah.
orders. That's not reality, and so for me right now, like, I'm trying to rethink how I think about this brand, like, instead of thinking about sales, I'm thinking about brand awareness, and that's really hard because sales are the thing that gives you money to keep operating, but I'm trying to, like, peel that back and
Yeah.
focus on, brand awareness more generally, which it's hard to tie a dollar amount to that, um, but yeah, I think just remembering that this is your story, not someone else's, and that comparison game is
Yeah.
really, really hard.
Yeah. Man, social media will just kick your butt sometimes. You'll be like, man, look how successful they are. But in reality, a lot of times they're just throwing out fluff that they're just making up too. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So I guess now that you have this, you're also working full time and then you're running this business. Like, how do you balance staying connected with the outdoors, while growing your company?
Yeah, that's, really hard, and it's frankly something I'm still trying to figure out. Um I am someone who would happily, work and then ride my bike until it got dark or be in the backcountry 10 hours Saturday and Sunday and like because that's what I had the time and love and passion to do, and that's just no longer my reality. Right now, like, I'll finish work, I'll hop on my bike or go skin a lap at the mountain, for an hour, maybe 2. That's, like, my dividing time between my day job and this. And on the weekend too, a big switch for me I've noticed is I'll be riding or out or whatever, and I wanna go home and work. I've, like, never
Yeah.
had a job that I actually am excited to get to. So,
Yeah.
it's really hard, and for me, I have to still find the time to be active for my own mental health, and so I don't think this is a great solution, but this summer what I did was I signed up for my biggest ultra race ever, and so that
Wow.
was, like, it forced me to be on my bike and do the things, and also, I know I used it for business purposes too, like, made some content out of it, but
Yeah.
it forced me to push myself to an uncomfortable place, like, physically and in the outdoors, um, while, yeah, also having to build the business. So I don't have a good answer, and I
Yeah.
kind of come to this place where I don't know if balance is a thing. Like, I think we're all just trying to squeeze everything in,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard.
Well, it's good to know you love it so much. You're like, man, I'd rather go and do this than sometimes be out riding as much as you love riding and stuff like that too. So I got to pick your brain later too, offline about like backcountry skiing and stuff like that. Because growing up in Canada, we had people think, oh, there's tons of skiing and everything else, but there was not the kind of skiing you get in Colorado. But still, like, I have to go and do a couple of shoots and I need snow, and we're thinking about just hopping on a plane, going to Colorado, and then hiking up, or then, I can rent some skis and skin up a mountain, and that would be super cool. And you'll probably know everywhere to go. So I'll pick your brain later on that one for sure.
We have no snow. We have no snow right now, I will say
Really?
that.
They
But,
had, I
yeah,
thought you guys had snow. Maybe I'm thinking of West Coast more.
no, it's been a tough start to the year. We're supposed to get a storm, I think, tomorrow, but right now I'm still biking out the back door.
Wow. I saw in the Farmer's
Yeah.
Almanac, that's how old I am. I still look at the Farmer's Almanac. Growing up on a farm. And so they said this year is supposed to be a record year for snow based on statistics and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Let's hope those statistics work out.
I just want snow here in Georgia because my kids ski down, or not ski down, they sled down the hill that we live on, and then they go all the way down to the cul-de-sac um, in the wintertime when we do get snow. So all right, so I guess let's shift to something like super mega positive. It's like, if there's one thing that you could tell me about a moment when a customer story or review hits you hard in like a good way. Like, what's something like, maybe like that Everest person you were telling us about? Is there another one where your customer was like, this was it for me. This is the perfect product, or something like that.
Yeah. For me, every good review it feels like magic because it's so much validation. It's someone coming to you and saying, "Hey, this thing you built is amazing." And for better or for worse, I'm the kind of person who's always pushing. I think, you mentioned 6 years is a long time to try to build a business, and that's just kind of who I am. It's like I'm always
Yeah.
someone who's pushing, trying to do better and grow and learn. Um, but yeah, I was one that more recent as I was at an event and some woman, I don't know, she comes up to me and she goes, "I just want to introduce myself. Like, I love your product. Thank you so much for creating this product. Like, this is how I use it, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Who are you? This is incredible. Like, thank you so much." Or the other day I got a review
That's
on my
great.
website and it was some 70-year-old bike packing woman. She was like, "I tried this. I was hesitant and wow, like it was amazing. Like I felt great. Like it made fueling while I was bike packing so much easier and I'm 70." And like I was like, "That's so cool. Like I want to be like you when I grow up."
That's
Um
great.
so those are like some ones that stand out, but at any time someone tells you this thing, like when someone tells you you're like, "Gosh, this photo's so beautiful." Like it's so special because like I poured
Yeah.
my heart and soul into this and like someone is seeing the value and that is it's it's really incredible.
Yeah, that's great. It's always so good to just like touch that one person. Like, you always want to touch everybody, but when you hear it really rock somebody's world, you always go, man, this is what I, and then you get so pumped. You're like working all day long, going, all right, now I can do this more and more. So,
Yeah.
and I guess on going into that too, like, what's some unexpected place you ever never thought your product was going to show up, but you just randomly showed up somewhere.
Yeah, so I think I'm still relatively new, but I think new use cases I didn't really consider is I have folks who like I've had someone whose father has cancer and was struggling to get calories in, and because Neve like doesn't involve chewing and it's easy calories, high calorie,
Mhm.
and good ingredients. And there's a lot of use cases like that where folks are like, "Hey, my father's sick and he's struggling to eat. I had someone, who said, "Hey, my son, has Crohn's disease and he struggles to get good nutrition in." And so those kind of, like, illness use cases are really interesting to me because it's not what I built the product for, but that's a really interesting branch where I could one day focus more on that. And it's really cool to see that my product is helping people in ways that I didn't, like, really consider, right? I built this out of a very narrow lens. Had disordered eating tendencies and was struggling to eat, and this is how I was able to fuel myself. And for someone to take that story and kind of personalize it and say, like, "I'm struggling to
Yeah.
eat because of this variable, and this is solving that for me," I think is really cool.
That's neat. I think I love talking to businesses and they realize later on, like there's so many more. I talked to one business and they built their business based on one thing, and then later on they realized it was something completely different, and they shifted completely out of that industry and were getting like 70 or 80% of their business out of something they never even thought their product was gonna be for. So that's neat. I should have, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
and
I'm
I
thinking
tried to
my son
launch
has all
this
these.
product
No, yeah, go ahead.
I tried to keep this pretty niche at first because as you mentioned, like, I can't be everything to everybody all the time,
Yeah,
right? So I'm trying
yeah,
to be very clear, this is the story I'm telling, this is the problem I'm solving. But I also know that, like, in 3 years, maybe I expand to that other space. Um, and so it's just I think it's important to keep your eyes open to what that potential is, but also stay very focused.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so I guess going into the last few questions, you know, I know that you're just past your 1 year anniversary on launching your product and stuff like that. But if your business was a trail, what would it be, and what mile are you on in that journey so far?
I'm on mile, like, 0.000000001, and the trail would be, like, flow, and then it just turns into tech, and then there's, like, some rampage, Red Bull rampage, and then it's flow, and it's tech, and then it just repeats that, and I think starting a business, being a founder, it's so hard, like, it's so hard, like, there are days where I feel like I'm winning, and I just get all this positive feedback, and there are days I just get wrecked, like, I got 4
Yeah,
wholesale rejections and a bad review or, like and you just when you wake up, you just don't know you don't know what an email is gonna be in your inbox, you don't know who's gonna love or hate your
yeah,
product, you don't know what opportunities are gonna show up, and that's hard. It's such an
yeah,
emotional roller coaster, so, um, it's yeah, I'm so new, and
yeah.
I think about these businesses that are so old, and I don't know, it's eyes wide open all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure because I know that you do a lot of research and you talk to a lot of people and stuff like that too. So I'm sure like even with those, I've talked to so many companies now, the ones that I've worked for, and then the ones we've had on the podcast that they've been around for years and years and years and have just started, and they all have those ups and downs, which I don't know if that's a good comforting thing or that's like, oh no, it's still going to be ups and downs, but you'll have different types of ups and downs as you grow. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
As long as it's trending up. It can have ups and downs, but it should always
yeah.
be trending up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
As long
learned
as it's doing like
everyone's just faking
this
it
and
till they
yeah.
make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone's just trying to do the best with the resources they have, and that's I think you realize that no matter how old you are, like, everyone's I don't know, I'm doing stuff I've never done before every single day. Like, every single day, I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess I have to, source X ingredient from X supplier or find it's, like, crazy all the things that you have to do, and no one teaches you how to be a dad, you
Yeah.
just have to learn every day, and no one teaches you how to
Yes.
start a company, you just have to be willing to ask.
Yeah. I actually just did newborn pictures for a couple. We did their wedding, and stuff like that. And they're brand new newborn parents. And as a parent who's had 3 kids and are grown up, is just neat watching them. And like you literally, like you said, you have a baby, and next thing you know, they just everybody helps you at the beginning, and then once you start the business, there's still help, but it's like, okay, now what do I do with this thing that they just let me walk out of the hospital with? And you're kind of on your own, and then you're every once in a while asking friends for help here and help here. So there's so many different
Yeah.
contrasts to that. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
and I think too I think that's so important because asking for help is something I'm bad at, and it's something I've had to learn to get really good at. And I keep kind of because I'm a solo founder, a one woman show here, I keep a network of advisors and mentors pretty close. So when it's time to make a big decision about a new channel or a partnership or whatever, I can call up those mentors and say, "Hey, here's the decision in front of me. Here are the pros and cons. Like, what do you think?" And people are willing to help.
Yeah.
It's just typically for me, it was me not being willing to ask. And now I'm always asking. I'm
Yeah.
always asking people for help because you can't build a business alone. You can't be a parent alone. And what I found is people do want to help. Like when I email someone and say, "Hey, like thanks so much for trying the product. Like, would you mind leaving a review if you liked it?" People will typically
Yeah.
do that. So yeah, ask for help and keep those mentors close.
That's cool. I guess that kind of answers the question I was going to ask you next, which is, but maybe you can give me a little more advice here too. Is what advice would you give to someone like at the beginning, like at the trailhead of their own outdoor business dream? Someone who's out there just kind of
Yeah,
trying to start something.
I would say, yeah, like I said, ask for help. Um, ask for a lot of help. Ask for help from different folks too. Like it doesn't have to be someone who started a business in your specific space. You can learn a lot from folks who've started a business in tech or like whatever space. It doesn't even have to be someone who started a
Yeah.
business. It could be someone who's been in sales for 15 years and they're just going to provide a wealth of knowledge about how to pitch wholesale accounts. Like be willing to ask for help from anybody. And also someone gave me this piece of advice once, which I thought was good is someone's like feedback is just an opinion or suggestion is just an opinion, right? So you don't have to listen. Like when someone tells me they love this flavor, they hate this flavor, that's their personal and a one opinion. Or if someone says, "Hey, I really think that you should go into this sector," that's just their opinion. And you as the
Yeah.
founder have to decide yes or no, and you can make an educated guess. It's like
Yeah.
I'm a big backcountry skier. It's like skiing in the backcountry, right? You have to make the best decision with the information you have. And then the other thing I would say is rejection is just a suggestion. So when people tell you no, when a wholesale account tells you no, like that's not a no forever. Like fix the product and come back to them in a year. Or maybe like they leave that role and a new buyer comes in and the new buyer loves your product. And so yeah, it's a no for now, but it's not a no forever. So those no's, while they do
Yeah.
hurt and it is painful, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah. No, that's really, really good because I've had so many no's and then I've still gone back
Yeah.
years later. And then they're like, you know what? Now we're on that place where we can hire you to do pictures or hire you to do this, or now we need marketing or this style and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, because I mean, rejection sucks. And so when you sit there and go, okay, I'm never
So
going to call
much.
them again, or I'm never going to shoot them an email. And I'm like, okay, I got to push back my own emotions and go, it's just business sometimes. So that's
Yes.
really, really good.
And
I
a
like
lot
that
of it's out of your
advice.
control. Like, yeah, a lot of it's out of your
Yeah.
control. So, like, you get to know it. It's not you, it's not your work. It's because the person saying yes, maybe their partner is pregnant. Maybe they're going, like, maybe they're
Yeah.
going on family vacation. Maybe they're having a bad day. Like, maybe they don't have the funding. So, it's like, it's kinda like when you're applying for a job and you get rejected, typically, it might not be you, it's because another candidate knew knew the HR
Yeah.
person, so, like, you have to remember there's so many variables in this rejection, but yeah, go back later and
Yeah.
ask again.
That's cool. All right, I guess the last question I want to ask, and then I'm going to go into our rapid fire round, which I think is really, really cool. People get to know you. So, um, what's the legacy or impact you kind of hope to leave on the outdoor space, or where your product is?
So, before I worked in the outdoor industry for, like, college, post-college, and I think, my experience and as, like, an endurance athlete and a female endurance athlete, I think I have a very different experience
Yeah.
than some of my, like, male counterparts. And the outdoor space, if you don't find the right people, can be very exclusionary. Um, and so when I was building Neve, I really wanted to make a nutrition product that welcomed everybody in and didn't push you away. So I think with a lot of gels, for example, you get like that black and highlighter yellow or green packaging, and it's intimidating. And I wanted to create a product that welcomed the athlete in and said, like, "Hey, I don't care if you're a beginner or if you're an expert. This is a product you can use. I handled the science. I brought in the expert. I developed it. You just go out and have a fun day touring, have a fun day skiing, have a fun hike with your friends."
Yeah.
And so showing that nutrition can be fun and easy and approachable. It doesn't have to be bad. Is really important to me. So like when I go and sample and people are like, "Oh my god, this is actually really good," because the bar is so low. So like I'm trying to
Yeah.
change people's concepts of like what nutrition can be and that it could actually be fun and that it could actually be inviting. So showing people, "Hey, you are always included, at least in my brand. I want
Yeah.
you here. Please come." And enjoy the outdoors because being outside is such a gift and we should all get to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you have the best outdoors out in Colorado. So, I mean, I'm just biased with that, but like, everybody, we never use this. Like, I'm out in Georgia and everybody says, "Oh, Georgia's so pretty." I'm like, no, no, West Coast is so pretty. And that's some really good advice. I appreciate that. All right. So let's rock into the rapid fire round real quick. These are just quick little questions, one word answers, sometimes a little bit longer than one word answers, but I kind of think talking to you now, I think I can kind of figure out what some of your answers are going to be on these. So, all right. So rapid fire round. Here we go. Number one is coffee or electrolyte drink on the trail. And I guess you'd have to say you can use the Neve on the trail.
On the trail, electrolytes, but I'm a coffee drinker in the morning for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next is your favorite national park.
There's so many I haven't been to.
Really?
Oh
What's
boy.
one what's your like
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
go to one that you've never been to maybe?
I'm so bad at rapid fire. You're already like, "Nora, this is taking far too
No,
long."
no, you're good.
I haven't been to Zion or Bryce yet, which is I feel like surprising.
Okay. Zion, I think Zion is really great as long as you go off season. If you go during peak season,
Great.
I told
All of them
myself
are.
yeah. I told myself I would never go back to Zion after we took our kids there in peak season on a road trip. We had no idea. And then I went back last year um, it was during the Western Hunting Expo. So I can't remember exactly. It was in the wintertime, but there was nobody there. I drove in and there was only 2 cars in the parking lot and I thought it was closed and I just walked in, got a permit and it was awesome. So go off season because it never gets as long as you're used to the cold, so you'll be good. Um, so okay. Next thing is solo hike or crew mission.
So, crew, I'm a big backcountry skier, feel safer with the numbers typically.
Yeah. Have you ever been part of like an avalanche or anything?
Yes.
Wow.
Um, last yeah, yeah. Last year I was actually, caught and carried, not buried in my first avalanche, and there a lot of I'm happy to get into the story, yeah, scary.
Oh my gosh. Okay. See, that's why I told my wife there's certain things I would never do, but I want to go backcountry skiing so bad. Um, so you didn't scare me away from it, but you got to tell me that story sometime. Maybe I'll have you on for like a trail stories or something.
I'm happy to talk about it. I think learning from others and education is really important, so I'm happy
Yeah.
to talk about it.
All right. Next question. Worst trail snack you've ever tried?
Energy bars, just
Yeah.
as the category. They're not good. Like, they're just not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. All right.
But
So
I
then
am
I
a
guess the
fan
next
of,
one will
like,
be,
when I travel internationally to, like, ski or bike, we always go to the store and try to get, like, the weirdest stuff. Because, like, in an international grocery store, it's like, "What the heck is that?" And you always kinda
yeah.
fuel on fun things.
Yeah.
So I've tried some weird stuff.
All right. So then I guess what would be okay, outside of Neve, what would your go-to trail snack be?
I'm a fan of just, like, baked goods. So, right now I'm into salty things. You said one word, and here I go, not one
No,
word.
you're good.
But,
So
like, I'm a fan of, like, Cheez-Its for salty, but then, like, baked goods for savory of the or for sweet.
yeah. Okay, next would be what's your most used piece of gear in your life right now?
Depends on the season.
Okay, let's
My
go.
bike in the summer, my skis in the
Okay.
in the winter.
What kind of skis do you use by the way? What kind? Because it's been years. I moved here in 2000, so I've only been skiing twice since I've lived in Georgia, and one of them was at Heavenly
Yeah.
in Tahoe, and then somewhere in North Carolina that was the crappiest skiing I've ever been to, but I don't even know what skis are right now.
I have very unique taste in skis. I grew up as a ski racer. Now I'm a big backcountry skier. I've sold skis. I know a lot about skis.
Yeah.
Right now I have a pair of Zags, which are super tapered, meaning they're like pretty wide in the tip and tail and pretty narrow underfoot, which I think is pretty
Yeah,
fun. But I do have a little bit of a quiver of skis. Those are just my daily drivers.
that's cool. I'm glad I know somebody now that I can talk to about backcountry skiing because I feel like I'm going to get into another sport eventually pretty soon. um, all right, so I'll get two more questions. First one is favorite way to unplug, or do you even unplug in the first place?
Um, Getting outside, getting on my bike sometimes could be like, it just can separate my mind and take me to a really happy place.
Yeah. All right, last question is if you could collab with any brand, what brand would that be?
This is a hard one. I think there's a couple
Yeah,
different lenses I'd look at here.
go for it.
Is it if it's for flavor? I don't know. It'd be interesting to do a collab with another brand for like a flavor profile, but if it was brand like a I don't know. People have asked me this before and I don't have a good answer, unfortunately. I have to
No,
put
you're
thought
good.
into that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
It's
because it's
hard. There's so many cool brands.
it's always neat to see like certain companies, like you're a food company, so what would you collab with or whatever? What would you partner with? Like, I know you're not going to have a Lucky Charms flavored Neve or whatever, but like
Yeah.
so.
Also, collabing with an athlete, like doing an athlete signature flavor would be really cool.
Oh yeah, like I run all the time with the I can't remember, it's Tailwind's DeWalter melon, Courtney DeWalter's
Yeah,
watermelon
yeah.
flavored
According to Walter.
electrolyte drink. And so I'm like, and
Yeah,
I'm working with a brand right now that I have a NDA with, so I can't say anything, but like um when they're trying to have this new product come out and they're trying to get a spokesperson for it. And so I'm super stoked because I get to shoot the interviews and stuff like that with like a famous athlete that I've always wanted to meet. So when that comes out, I'll be like, hey, that's going to be a cool collab that they're going to do. And maybe I'll tell you how that goes and
that's
how they
cool.
did that. So I'll give you some tips and tricks, I guess. So, um,
Yeah, that'd be
but
good.
yeah.
I actually Michaela Schifrin lives like in kind of my area,
Oh,
and I know
cool.
where she lives, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna see her in like a store and be like, "Hey, try this."
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. If people are looking for Neve, where can they find you on your socials, your website, all that good stuff? And if there's anything coming up where you want to let people know any info, let us know right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so eatneve.com, that's EATNEVE.com is the website, and right now there's, free shipping on trial packs if you do wanna try it out, and then on Instagram, it's at @eat_neve, or on TikTok, at @eatneve, on all the socials. You can always get in touch with me from the contact form on our website. I love hearing from people, and I respond to, like, every email, so never hesitate to get in touch.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Nora. I really appreciate you being on. And everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure you send this to your friends and family, everybody who's looking for food and nutrition and stuff like that. Make sure you, of course, do the whole like and subscribe thing and everything else. And we look forward to seeing you guys all on the next podcast. Thank you so much, Nora.
Thank you.